Welcome, Survivor, to some more 7 Days to Die, and I'm Vedui Photo 2, and today we're going to look at inventory management, and specifically Khaine's backpack buttons. Now, I had actually made this video before, and I was going to publish it, and then Khaine was kind enough to come up with an updated version of the modlet that has some significant upgrades and benefits to using the first one, so I decided, let me just redo this. And this is actually the third one I redid because the first time there was no audio on it. But anyway, that's a different matter entirely. So this is an awesome management or inventory management modlet that is using some of the basic functionality that is in 7 Days to Die, but it's not been enabled, and Khaine has enabled it, put in some icons and everything, and it's awesome. And let's start by showing what it's all about, and then the second part of the video, and I'll leave in the links, and they should be divided into chapters in the YouTube timeline as well, so you can actually jump to the modlet install part. So first thing, I'm going to go through how it works. Secondly, how to install it. So if you look at the normal inventory, nothing, but I got a bunch of different things here. You go to your resources, and one of the storage boxes, you'll see there's a bunch of buttons here. First one says move all items to loot container. That'll basically drop all this stuff in here. Second one says move items to loot container that can fill up existing stack. Note, fill up existing stack. It will not go beyond existing stacks. So if all these get filled up and I have tons of coal on me, it will not create additional stacks. That's what the second button do. The third one, however, will bring everything over that already exists. So if I use this one now, it will bring over stone, fiber, and coal. So let's do that. But before we do that, let's look at the fourth one, which is more like not quite a button, but it's a couple of buttons and this one basically says it locks the first slots on the inventory for being moved with the stash buttons. So if I lock the first 12, 9, 10, 11, 12, none of these one will be affected. So if I do this one, you saw things vanished just like you want. And this is what it's good for. You go back to your home, you go like, well, my food stash and everything, let's just stash everything in. And you go like, oh, okay, this one doesn't exist, then I can just put it in manually. This one, let me put some of that, and now that it does exist, I can hit this one, it'll transfer it over. So once you start filling up these with your boxes, you basically can just go in and just drop things off. Same thing here. I have all this ammunition. Some of it exists here, some of it does not. I'll shift over this. Bam! You'll see all my ammunition here went away except the things that are locked. And that's what the lock button is for. Otherwise, it might actually take this one as well. And that's not what we want. So same thing here. If I don't have that one, I can bring it over. And once I have it, next time it will take the rest. The last one is going to be miscellaneous dump chest. And I'm going to basically dump everything that is not within the 12 stacks here that I've locked. So I click this one and move. Move. Nothing happens, right? Because this is the wrong button. It should be this one. Move all items, meaning regardless of whether there's anything here, hit there, and there you go. But let's say you don't want to lock 12. Well, you just minimize it to 10 here. And then you hit it again, and these things vanish. I do 9, and there you go. So it's really effective, and of course it doesn't take anything from your tool belt. So it allows you to basically organize things in your inventory. Try not to resort everything, because if you have stuff like this and you resort, the order will be different, so be a little bit careful about that. But then you basically just dump things in when you come back home, and then you can have a miscellaneous chest if you haven't done anything specific. Let's say you want to dump things like weapons and things like that, because they won't exist in stacks anyway. So it's really, really convenient. Thank you, Khaine, for enabling this from the vanilla functionality. And FunPimps, I think this should definitely be in the vanilla game. Maybe they're already aiming at doing that and just haven't gotten around to it. But it's really, really good. So thank you very much for that. And the difference between the first version of this and the second version is that the first version, and you might have seen that with other people streaming or making videos, and I had that on my stream, it has some other UI icons here. The problem with that, it meant that if you wanted to put this on a server, you had to put it on the server, but the client also needed it because otherwise there would not be any icons. Now with the change to version 2, Khaine is using the vanilla icons. This is why they don't necessarily match so well. But because they're vanilla, it doesn't require the client to do any installation at all if you're playing on a server. Of course, if you're playing single player, you still have to do it. But that's a huge difference because now it's entirely server safe. The clients who connect to it doesn't have to install it, and that's how this should be. But how do you actually install it? Well, let's drop out of the game and go into, well, the browser in Steam. First thing you want to do, you want to go to this link that I'll provide in the description below, and Backpack Button version 2. There's a version 1, and then he actually has other modlets as well, but you want to get to this one. Then you do a download zip file. Save it down somewhere, wherever, default or whatever. And then you go to your Steam. Right-click, Properties, Local Files, Browse Local Files. Once you're here, and this is your Steam install on the client, you basically create a mods folder. If you don't have it already, go into it and you extract it here. Now, when you extract these ones, there will be multiple directory depths inside. And what you would do, you want to make sure you pull this one so that when you go into this one, there's a config one. Because once you're in the config, it should look like this: mods, backpack buttons, which is the modlet, config. If you have multiple folder structures inside, meaning you have mods, then you have the Khaine, and then you have something else, make sure that doesn't happen because it will not work. It should be mods, and then the modlet should be in here with the mod info. So make sure that you copy everything up, and this is it. That's all you need to install it. On the client, if you're doing this on a server, it's actually exactly the same thing. Locate your server install, make sure you have a mods folder, drop in the zip file, or rather the contents of this zip file here, make sure it's in the correct structure here, and it will work for all the players that are connecting. Really, really simple. And the good thing is that most of the modlet install is exactly the same. Let's go and look at some other modlets that Khaine has. He has the 3-slot forge, he has pickup plans, and let's see, always open trade and stuff like that. If you use these ones, it's pretty much the same thing, assuming these are for Alpha 19, which I think all of them are. Basically, unzip them here, make sure that they're not in nested directories downwards, and then it should work for your client. It's easy peasy lemon squeezy. Hopefully you enjoyed this short tutorial, and if you did, make sure you've subscribed to my channel because that helps me out, and maybe leave a like. Join me on Discord, Twitter, whatever. Links are in my description below, and I'll see you again next time.
Special thanks to the great patrons supporting the channel. If you would like to join the Vedui community and support these videos, do follow the Patreon link.